Welcome back to Chaos Corner. It's your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy, and I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Breaking and trending news here at Chaos Corner. Same day coverage, live to tape. Show number 22. That's right, fans. Show number 22. I haven't been here in a few days. You know that as we look around, that we're 10, 12 feet below the surface of the earth. Here at the bunker at Chaos Corner, I'm happy you could be here. This will be up today. Show number 22. Fans, this is what's going to happen on this episode. First off, we're going to have a lot of fun. And thanks for being here on a Monday. Unexpected, impromptu, but that's what Chaos Corner and the YouTube channel is all about. What we're covering today is everything pro wrestling. Okay, fans? In the lineup, across the timeline, I'm going to talk about the WWE and TLC pay-per-view coming up. This week's NXT, AEW Dynamite, Impact on Access, MLW and the Opera Cup, Ring of Honor pay-per-view, New Japan and Wrestle Kingdom. I'm going to talk Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling and iPay-per-view and the NAWA Jingle Brawl. We have everything coming up. I will be hitting on all those subjects here live to tape. Show number 22. Who knew? Again, fans, follow me on all social media platforms. On Twitter, it's at Big Daddy GOC, and the GOC stands for the Guardian of Chaos. Hit my profile link. That'll bounce you over to my YouTube channel where all this platform and classic information is. Don't forget to follow my boys at the show, and that's at Mario_Chaos. If you're not using them to put over your product and your social content, I don't know what you're doing. You're crazy. You're missing the boat. Get the rub from the show. Also, follow me on Parler, Instagram, Rumble, Gab, Twitter, YouTube. Fans, we're having one hell of a time. There's a few people in the studio. You can see what's happening. Don't you dare miss it. All right, fans, welcome back. Technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi service being down here, as I say all the time at Chaos Corner. So I'm just going to disconnect, turn it off. I don't want to go to the echo or the dot that SiriusXM sent me because I renewed my subscription. How about that it's still going that strong, SiriusXM? What is it? It's definitely over 10 years. What are we on? 15 years of SiriusXM. Stern just signed another millions of dollars in contract, and the content and the platform and everything over there has really changed. I've been a subscriber multi-time since day one at SiriusXM, which we thought would revolutionize this industry, and it has to an extent. Stern is the king of all media. I'll give him that. Before that was Imus, who I was a big fan of and was one of my mentors. Rest in peace, Don, and the Imus family. Thoughts and prayers always with the Imus family. And just go back to Bernard McGurk and Charles McCord and that whole crew there. And even at the end of his run, he even had Dagan McDowell, who's now on the 5 on Fox. And not only is she a looker, one smart lady. I don't want to start off there, but you know where I'm coming from and the different things going on with the Wi-Fi connection. Show number 22. We're going to cover everything. Thanks for being here, fans, on the YouTube channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, get us in the algorithm, kick back, enjoy your lunch, your midday snack, or maybe it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I mean, I don't know. But it's great to be back. It's been a few days. I hit off 3 last week shows. Here we are at the beginning of the week, so I wanted to get in early on a Monday to get you the same day coverage of what's going on in here. It was a quiet weekend with news and notes and not any shows really except in Japan that trended through the weekend, although we know a lot of things had happened that were trending. So we're going to cover everything, as I said in the opening. I'm going to break everything down from the local independents, from the groups that I'm associated with, and to the major leagues and everything. This will be a, so to speak, throwback episode, or what I try to do anyway. The old Joe Pedicino and Gordon Soley show. This week in pro wrestling. I enjoy doing this, and I hope you fans enjoy it too. 5 minutes in, Chaos Corner, live to tape, show number 22. Shout out to my sponsor, Mr. Hempel Stilskin. Say that 3 times fast. Mr. Hempel Stilskin at sweetheal.com for all your CBD needs. If you go a day without it, I don't know what you're doing. As a Hall of Famer, I don't. It's out there on social media. There's sales, promotional code 25% off if you use the promo code CHAOS at sweetheal.com for any CBD, which is the wave of the future, from everything to dealing with inflammation to anxiety to muscle issues and injuries in our business. That's what's needed. So a shout out to Mr. Hempel Stilskin, right from the rip here at 5 minutes in. Thank you for being a sponsor of Chaos Corner and the fans. Constitution State, small entrepreneurs, small businesses, which we know are being destroyed right now with what's going on with the pandemic. I'm not going to make this show about that, but let's support them. Legally licensed. Okay, it doesn't get any better than that. I wouldn't put my name for it or wouldn't vouch for it if it didn't work for me. A big shout out to my boy, as you can see, El Gallo Tres Huevos. You know what I mean, my brother. Okay, on to the task at hand. Show number 22. Thank you, Sweet Heel. And before we get a little crazy, and I'll be back along before then, but I just want to give up because we're in the season. Happy holidays to everyone, whatever you celebrate, and more importantly, Merry Christmas. Okay? Here's what I'm going to start off with. I said the groups we're going to run through. I'm going to start off with what's coming up this week. We know that tonight we have Monday Night Raw. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to shit on the product, but I'm sure I'll have an honest background. I'll be watching Guy Fieri or something like that, or something on YouTube, or I'll definitely be going to one of the live broadcasts that I always watch afterwards because I appreciate those guys, and that's what I enjoy doing. That's what I'm trying to do here. So it won't be on the top of the priority list as the NFL. It'll be background noise because that's what I have to do. It used to be a former love, but there'll be 1.5 million watching Raw tonight, but it won't be me. I'll DVR it, to be honest, and fast forward through. Then we go into tomorrow night. We have AEW Dark. Supposedly there's, what did I hear? 12 matches maybe lined up tomorrow for AEW Dark, where you'll see a lot of independent people getting tryouts. It's on YouTube. It doesn't cost you anything. I know you don't always have a lot of time, but maybe when you're, on the road or you're bored on your lunch break or your chow break or you're sitting there late at night and you have insomnia or just if you want to watch it with the family, throw it on YouTube. It's free. Tomorrow night's a big night in professional wrestling. You have AEW Dark, which leads into a lot of the stars and superstars that lead into the big show on Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite. You know that they're creating a lot of storylines there. So I think a lot of people are missing the boat, but I realize in reality it's a lot of content. Also tomorrow night is the continuation of the Opera Cup, which in episode number 21, show number 21, if you will, of Chaos Corner, I ran down MLW Fusion and covered the tag team match between the Von Erichs and the Contra unit in the semifinals in the Opera Cup of Richard Holiday and Low Key. Also, Calvin Tankman made an unbelievable appearance over Senshi on that. I talked about that. We talked about Hammerstone. So that is also on tomorrow night. And we talked about this on show number 21. I'll say it here on 22. So not only AEW Dark, MLW, Max Kruger, the lunatic I told you about, the huge monster from MLW, who's had a lot of problems with Hammerstone, and this is where I lead into Holiday and the Dynasty, because Hammerstone returns tomorrow. Max Kruger and Eric Young, EY, the former MLW champion, will be in the building tomorrow night for MLW Fusion. So there's a lot of things. I don't know. There's also the other side of the bracket of the MLW Opera Cup, ACH and Filthy Tom Lawler. I've been dead balls on with my prediction. Okay, I didn't predict Low Key. I said it. Holiday had a chance, so I don't want to take full credit for the victory there. I did predict Filthy Tom Lawler to get to the finals, and I'm sticking with that. So that's on tomorrow for the semifinals. The winner of ACH and Lawler, Court Bauer's doing great things. I got to give a lot of respect to the mind of Court Bauer. The winner of ACH and Lawler go on to face Low Key for the finals of the Opera Cup. That's the deal there. It's been a great tournament. Where is Selena De La Renta? Who knows what's going to continue on with her storyline, who she's going to continue to build as a stable? This is all tomorrow night. And again, what's the connection between Hammerstone and if he's going to be feuding with Kruger? Is Holiday and the Dynasty going to reunite with Hammerstone? That is the Dynasty right now. MJF is an AEW. Gino Medina is Vamonos. Or no, wait, did I say that wrong? El Ref, help me out here. I speak a little. You know that. De nada. Anyway, that's what you have tomorrow night for a Tuesday night. Who knows what will be the Von Erichs Contra Unit Fallout. That'll be on YouTube tomorrow night. This is free. All this stuff is free, fans. I know there's Fight TV, great app, a lot of things. We'll talk about that. There's iPay-per-views. Paradise Alley is headed that way for an iPay-per-view coming up in 2021, which is mere weeks away. Okay, we're what? Less than 2 weeks from Christmas. So that's what's going on at MLW, AEW Dark, which leads me into Wednesday. Okay, we all know what's happening on Wednesday. I also want to talk about, well, I guess I might as well go in order. Fans, now hold on. Don't go anywhere here. We're only 11 minutes in. Don't go anywhere. I have a timeline here, and I want to try to go in order. We talked about Raw tonight. I don't want to be disrespectful. I get it, that the product is on tonight. Okay, we talked about tomorrow night. Again, I'm repeating. That's what I do here on show number 22. We talked about MLW and the Opera Cup and a lot of action there and what AEW Dark was trying to do. Also tomorrow night, I believe is, and this is where I should have started, but I didn't, and I wanted to make you fans wait 11 minutes in, 12 minutes in. Impact on Access tomorrow night or on Twitch, however you watch or however you're going to live stream it. There really, a lot of people said, from the big timers to the small timers to the medium timers, in the IWC, if you will, fellow podcasters, podcast community, YouTube community, everyone out there's got an opinion, and hey, that's cool, man. Everybody said, it was a one-off with Omega, a one-off. I wanted to start talking about war like in other sports or wins above replacement. Like really, we're going to get into all that? So you were all wrong. I don't think you were wrong, okay? It's not a one-off. They came back a second week, and they're coming back a third week. Now where it's going, who knows? But it's leading into more eyes, more viable alternatives, maybe possible mergers, which is a win for the boys and the girls, the talent. It's a win for everyone that wants to be employed in the business. It's a win for us in this industry. And it's a win ultimately for everyone that's a fan. And that's all of you. So I'm just running it down. So tomorrow night, Omega and Callis, it was just announced. They will be back. I don't know if they're still going to be on the bus. I mean, thank God they changed wardrobe. I'll say that much. But Omega and Callis been on that bus for what, about a week now? Omega has been in 3 places in a week. He was in AEW. He was in Impact. He was at Triple Mania Luchamania, which was unbelievable. And listening to my buddy Hugo Savinovich, the former WWE employee at one time. Hugo was a legend in WWC, IWA, AAA. So I watched a lot of that, and I saw Omega's match and the risks that he takes. Power bombing and slamming people onto railings and being outside of the ring. Omega is really coming back, and this guy is trying to be. Now, hold on a second. Something new here, a little monster, because that's how I'm feeling. I'm a little bit of a monster here on Chaos Corner show number 22. Stand by, please. Don't go anywhere. I appreciate you being here. It's the holidays. Happy holidays. You guys are awfully quiet back there. You could say something. Not when the red light's on. Not when the red light's on. All right. So I was talking about Impact. Thanks for standing by, fans. I appreciate it. You know what I like about Impact? I like, and this is what I've called, and no one else has said it or noticed it, the Tommy Dreamer effect. Listen, they already have Callis and D'Amore. We know they're responsible for a lot of it behind the scenes. They get other input, but Tommy Dreamer, has really been a big influence and impact, and what he has done for the business over the years, and what this guy puts up with physically, and what he still does in his business. And Dreamer will never see this, even though we have a connection. We work several times. Whatever. It's not about that. I'm talking about Dreamer's effect, whether it was Dusty Rhodes onto him, now Dreamer, in ECW, and now onto this, and House of Hardcore, a Busted Open Radio influence. I'll give him a lot of credit. The guy's still out there, still doing it. That's a true professional wrestler and someone who it really, truly defines him. And he's had a big impact. You see what I did there? He's had a big impact on the locker room. He's feuding right now with Team Triple XL at the pay-per-view. Final Resolution, he was attacked by Larry, and he was attacked by AC Romero, who I love. AC Romero, I say it all the time. Mobile, agile, hostile, and nimble there at Impact. So that's what's going on there. And Dreamer's doing good things, so he's still working. I can't believe it. Also coming up on tomorrow night, again, Tuesdays. I said it on show 21. I said it on show 20. And Tuesdays, to me, as someone in the industry doing this for a living at this point in my career, and someone as a fan, and just if whoever you are in this demographic that everybody talks about, Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff, Cornette, everybody else, they all talk about the 18, Tony Khan, McMahon, Triple H, they talk about the 18 to 49 demographic or the 18 to 40 demographic. I get it. Okay, so everybody should be happy with what's going on Tuesdays. And that demographic is just as good as Wednesdays. Those are the two big nights. It's not Monday and Friday. It's not your occasional Saturday pay-per-view through these other different large groups that are out there and promotions in the world of professional wrestling. And it's not your traditional Sunday night pay-per-views either. It's Tuesdays and Wednesdays at this point, and everyone should be happy. So Omega and Callis return. We were talking about the bus. It led me on to Tommy Dreamer and his effect. Now, Ethan Page, we know what's going on with his storyline. He may be done. Who knows? I haven't followed a lot of it on social media, but I see it come across my timeline. Now, are the North done? I don't know. To tell you the truth, I don't care. I liked it when they were going against the Good Brothers. Don't get me wrong. When I did my Impact reviews, go back and look at the prior episodes on YouTube. I have over 500 videos on there, with the exception of my Chaos Corner shows and podcasts. Every other video is anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, and that's what they say on YouTube and the algorithms and what you're supposed to do to get viewers and subscribers and to go live, and that's what I need you for, so I can do that, so I can interact, and we could chat. Email me at chaosbigdaddy, the letter 2, at yahoo.com. chaosbigdaddy, 2, at yahoo.com. We'll interact live on the air, live, same day, live to tape, same day coverage. Also tomorrow night on Impact, see how I bounce back there? Do you see how I go from chaos back to the character? This is what it is, and I can do it in any way you want. So I know people are watching. I get it. Battle of the machine guns, so to speak. Karl Anderson, from the Good Brothers. Gallows hasn't been around in weeks for Impact, but it's Anderson against Chris Sabin. I've been on several events with Sabin before. Always a great guy, unbelievable talent. Got longevity. A lot of respect for Chris Sabin and his partner Matt Seidel, who I choked out a couple of times over the top rope a couple of times. Right? You remember that Seidel, right? Yeah, I hope you do, because I have it on videotape and I'll put it out there. But anyway, I respect both those guys, Seidel and Sabin. But tomorrow night, the Motor City Machine Gun Sabin, Mr. Machine Gun himself, Karl Anderson, ought to be an unbelievable matchup. We know that coming out of the pay-per-view for Impact, Deonna Purrazzo is still the champion. Now, where I think it's trending, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what social media is going to say. I don't know what the rest of the IWC is going to say. But I'm going to say that to say this. I believe it's going to be Taya Valkyrie, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Deonna, who I have a connection through with Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. She was there for a huge event at Dieselmania 3, where we also had A.R. Fox. That's right, A.R. Fox, who's training the young lady who's associated with Shaq down in AEW. That's right, and we also had Booker T, Hall of Famer, Reality of World Wrestling. That's what the Paradise 4 brought to PAPW in this legendary classic historical area at that time, along with Deonna. And she was the former PAPW Ladies Champion. So that's the connection there to the Paradise 4. And we'll get on to that. So Deonna is still the champion. I'd like to see it against Taya. I've always said it for years on any show you've ever heard me or anything talk about. Taya Valkyrie, to me, is one of the best in the world. I really admire that woman. She's an unbelievable talent. So let's see what else we have. And again, a lot of people have been talking about this. I'm going to put my 2 cents into it. A lot of people made it and compared it to Ron Simmons and what he did, being African American and seeing two African Americans in the main event. I don't believe it's the first time, and I understand the recognition back to Ron Simmons, and that tops it all to me over anything. Whether it was Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson being tag team champions, or Ron Simmons being the first African American heavyweight champion, that means something to me. And yeah, it's great to see any talent, whether white, Chinese, Japanese, well, let me not get crazy political, Japanese, Latino, Mexican, whatever you want to say, African American, Canadian. It's great to see two athletes, period, in the ring. And it doesn't get better than Rich Swann and Chris Bay, who also appeared at a Friday Night Alley fights for Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Look at the connection there. And the guys, whether it's Richard Holiday and MLW, whether it's Chris Bay now and what he's doing, I could go on and on with talent. And Zane Lee, don't make me get crazy here. Okay. So what a match. In my opinion, I'm just going to throw it out there with you. You can at me. You could leave a comment. I don't really care what you do, to be quite honest with you. Although I respect it. I get it. To me, for the Impact Heavyweight title or the Impact World title, Rich Swann versus Chris Bay, to me, could be perhaps in the top 3, definitely top 5 matches of 2020 without question. So if you agree with me or disagree with me, leave a comment. I appreciate it. We can address it. As a matter of fact, I'll address it. And I appreciate those who have left comments on the YouTube page in the past, whether it be the professor at PWZ or whether it be my buddy Mitch from a minor league association at AHL, an unbelievable broadcaster and talent, or whether it be the big enforcer, Big Dave, unbelievable people that have left comments, or my buddy, guys that have followed me on social media, it's the Costanza, and certain people that have left. The Cleric has come on board and signed up as a subscriber, and so I know a lot of different people. Spread the word on what we're doing here, because this is what you get. You have variety here. I am a variety entertainment pro wrestling channel. That's what I provide here. And obviously what my association is fortunate enough to be overseer of people over at the show, which anybody can do. And I'm thinking about getting other things. I'm trying to expand on Instagram and on Parler. That's where I'm concentrating on next, besides Twitter and YouTube. And at 20 minutes in, I'm veering off course here, but I'll jump right back to it, because that's what I do. I don't lose focus. I don't need anything. It's just what I do. So you know what I'm trying to do here, fans. So we'll jump back to what's going on for tomorrow night. Again, Swann, Bay, to me, I can go for top 3. I can't go for number 1 match of the year. I'd really have to research it a little. This is something that came across to me as I'm thinking about it. I think top 3 for sure. Top 5 without a doubt. That's a no-brainer. Mark Jabroni, Dirt Sheet could figure that out. Anybody in the IWC, any casual can figure that out. But top 3 without question. And if you want to argue number 1, you'll have to come up with the facts and come up with the basis and show me. And we could debate it. I would love to do that. So that's what's going on for tomorrow night. So Tuesdays, big nights in the world of pro wrestling, fans. I mean, it really is. Again, I said it, AEW, Impact, MLW, 3 alternatives to WWE. And if you don't like, you're involved in over the top or too anxious, or you're like the Red Sox and Yankees fans, or you're all worked up about it, you got your panties in a bunch, I get it. You don't have to watch AEW or WWE. You can watch MLW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan. Right? Am I right? So that's what's going on for tomorrow night. I'm trying to do this in chronological order, which leads us into Wednesday. Okay, which is, we know, bang, NXT Wednesday. They haven't announced much. That's why I'm going to start off here first. They haven't said much about what's happening. The one thing they did say is that The Way, Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory, 2 unbelievable athletes. You can be a casual, or you can be a historian, or you can be someone who's on top of the game and one of the top young broadcasters out there right now trying to do what I'm doing here as the demo god that I am. Gargano and Austin Theory are unbelievable ground ring technicians, and that have been trained by the best. watching those guys, if you're one of the guys that's into pure technical wrestling, it doesn't get much, although Gargano, his gimmick has changed, or his personality or something about him wasn't the Gargano you know from not that long ago in NXT. That's just my opinion. They're teaming up against two guys that are as hot as I don't know, a fireplace right now since winter season. Leon Ruff and Kushida. Those two are on fire right now. Leon Ruff really came out of nowhere into the mainstream or into NXT, so that's great to see people getting an opportunity. Kushida is an unbelievable foreign grappler, an international star, so that's really the only thing they've announced for NXT, which just when you think they're getting back to how they were 3-4 years ago, they fall back and what is Triple H becoming like Vince, who shows up for an 8 o'clock show at 7:30? And I've said this many times on many places, and then changes the whole script around, or everything's written down and everyone wants it to be finalized and Vince doesn't show up. I'm just going by what I hear. I don't have any well, I do have an inside source or two. But anyway, so is that what's going on there? We don't want to see it fall back. NXT has dropped so much as far as ratings, not as much as far as what they're doing in shows. They put out a solid product. This is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. This is what I'm doing here. This is what it's all about. This is what we're trying to do here. Now, Karrion Kross has returned. You see the Kross and Priest feud. I'm looking forward to that. I want both men healthy, injured, and focused, and hopefully creative writes things into this to where I can have some Karrion Kross, Damian Priest matches that I think I'm going to be very interested in, and a lot of the fans will be interested in. What's going to happen with Finn Balor? He's finally healed up, surprisingly. Got to give him a lot of credit for that. You got to give all these guys credit for it. We all talk about the old days in the 80s and old school, and everybody complains about Cornette or whatever you want to talk about. But you got to give these guys credit. They're not as tough as they were back then as far as traveling and being on the road. Make no mistake about that. But what they do as far as performing and taking risks, I mean, come on. Longevity's not in their future. So I want to see that. What's going to happen with Finn Balor? He is the NXT champion. Let's see what's going on. A lot hasn't been announced. That's all I really have here for NXT, unless I missed something earlier in the morning. So it is what it is, because I tell it like it is. So that's NXT. So I started off there because I don't really have a lot for NXT, but I want to get onto it. Fans, hang around. Fans of the local fans, you people that are waiting for Paradise Alley news or North American Wrestling rundown or announcements that have been out there on Mike Johnson and PWI Insider. We know I'm not the commissioner anymore, so this is stuff that I get and that you get too. So let's not get crazy. My insider days right now are right here. For now. So we want to get on to AEW Dynamite. Now, I have that down here. I just like to be accurate. No one wants to be inaccurate. Those days of me being inaccurate on other shows are not inaccurate, but just talking. You have to be informed. If you're going to be out there and be legitimate like I am, you can't just talk about old road stories or show pictures and memorabilia if you're going to do this and run down what you did or your associations and connections, although fans love that because I've been getting a lot of feedback, okay? You also have to do this if this is what you're passionate and what you love. And I'm not doing it to compete against anyone because, man, when I go on YouTube, when I get on social media, no matter what it's on, everybody is running down and doing the same things that I'm doing. So that's why I bring you the character, the gimmick, the variety entertainment, plus not just this. It's not just about Chaos Corner watching these podcasts when I put them out there. It's about you guys realizing that my channel is out there and going back and looking at these 2, 3, 1 minute, 5 minute clips that you're gonna laugh and be entertained by. And if you're into classics and old school and even current stuff, you're in some of my chicanery, you're gonna get to know me and this channel, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with it when you listen, when you want to be entertained. Let's face it, there's a lot of options out here, and this is one of them that's a little off the wall. So AEW Dynamite, what's coming up in a couple of days. Again, Tony Khan announced it. I know a lot of you fans know it. I'm going to talk about it. 14-man tag team match. This is going to be off the wall. I don't know if I agree with it. I don't know the sense of it. I don't know what they're trying to do. You know I'm a fan of AEW Dynamite out of all the products out there. But I'm not agreeing with a lot of the stuff, and I've said it before, and the way they're running it, and I'm not complaining. I'm very entertained by it in this current product. But some of the things I'm starting to question, we'll talk about that on another episode. But here's what's happening on Dynamite. 14-man tag team match. All 7 of the Inner Circle. So we know who they are. From Wardlow to MJF to Proud and Powerful. Hager, Sammy Guevara, obviously MJF. We know that. Les Champions. A little bit of la bubble. Le Champion. He's no longer Le Champion. I admire Jericho, although, yeah, we had a couple interactions. Can I have a cup of coffee, Chris? Hey, Y2J, hey, Jericho. Hey, Le Champion, man. Instead of a little bit of the bubbly, can Chaos get a cup of coffee, man? I like it with a little bit of cream and maybe, I don't know, 1 equal or something like that. I don't know. That's not good for you either. Give me a stevia. I usually use mine with stevia. Thanks. Thanks, Fozzie. Thanks, Y2J. Thanks, Chris. I know. He don't fucking remember. I know. Woo, you can't make it up. Show number 22. Live to tape. I hope everybody's still here. AEW, Cody's going up against Angelico, one half of a hybrid 2 tomorrow night. So I'm not impressed by the lineup tomorrow night. Although, again, I respect all the athletes. I'm giving my fucking opinion. Wait. Because he sweared at the end of the world, you're not going to get him out. Listen, I apologize. Anyway, Cody against Angelico tomorrow night. Also, we talked about, I know I was talking about the 7-man inner circle and the 14-man tag team match. I jumped to Cody and Angelico. Let me not get too crazy. Let me bounce back to it. The Inner Circle going up against Brandon Cutler, who all of a sudden is the slice of the day, but for good reason. He's a talented guy. He's a great athlete. He looks the part. Give him a lot of credit. He has risen out of the Dark World Order. So Brandon Cutler, top flight, the tag team, the Best Friends, and the Varsity Blondes with Brian Pillman Jr., who people are even questioning his legitimacy. I heard some people and how much he's grappling. And I have to agree, not his legitimacy, but I have to agree with some of the things I've heard about today's guys, and whether it be in AEW, maybe not as much in WWE, but yeah, probably in all these groups, and not just because of the pandemic. How many times a week or a month are they really working in their bodies, and are they used to this, and are they seasoned for as compared to the guys of the 70s, 80s, and the 90s who were doing this 300 times a year, or say, I don't know, how many times a week are these guys wrestling? During the pandemic, we know once or twice, and maybe 3 or 4 times. And even during when there was no pandemic, nobody was wrestling. Not a lot of these guys 6, 7 nights a week. Well, that's what they were doing back in WCW, NWA, the territory days, WWF, WWF, even into ECW. I mean, even Monday Night Wars is where it started to change. But so I wonder. Not questioning, again, all tough, great athletes, but just a ponder, a thought. So that's the 14-man tag team match. Going to be a lot of chicanery, a lot of spots. Let's keep an eye out for that, fans, as I mentioned it here. So we talked about Cody and Angelico. I jumped ahead of the game. It's okay. Another, the Hardy Party. Tomorrow night. That's right, the Hardy Party, a.k.a. with the private party. The former Delete, we don't know where he's going with his new angle. He's not down at the compound. Brother Nero's nowhere to be found. So we don't know what's going on with Hardy. I'm just happy to see that he's healthy. You can see he struggles out there, man. I feel for that dude and the pain. And I know as I am, I'm here. I rub myself and what I go through with CBD and trying to stay healthy. And it's a constant fight. And, being older, man, I know when I watch these guys on other channels and live chats and stuff, it's tough. So I'm just happy that Matt Hardy's out there and still doing his thing, man, just like I say about Jericho. So the Hardy Party, which is private party, some young boys who go fly all over the place, man. That's the wave of the future. This is what it's all about. You got to admire it. Not what I call my pro wrestling, and that's okay though. But that's what this pro wrestling is. I mean, that's really what it's all about, right? So, Private Party and Matt Hardy, the Hardy Party against Hangman Page, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds, members of the Dark World Order. So I'll say that. They brought in some of the guys. They're not big, not the traditional look. And I'll say that about AEW. No one's got the big guys, the traditional look, and that's what I miss. And, I miss a lot of that. But these guys are well qualified, and the Dark Order guys have branched out, and I can see why they use them, because they're all pretty damn good athletes, and you can see it months later here with Brody Lee not being around, and Evil Uno doing his thing. Yeah, so that's what's going on again. And the Acclaimed, another young tag team, Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, who I said, Platinum Max Caster, who was a very entertaining guy. I said was a little personal connection. Used to talk to him as he was the producer, taking the calls for Scotty Wetzel, a.k.a. Mr. Vegas, on Opposite Picks for the overnights on Nightcap on Sirius XM. I know a lot of people at Sirius XM. Not only that crazy bastard Dino Costa, Patrick Ryan, whatever his name is now. I appreciate everything. Trust me. Don't take it the wrong way. I don't give a fuck, but don't take it the wrong way. It's a joke, baby. It's a work, man. Kayfabe the gun. So the Acclaimed, again, Max Caster, pretty damn good to see the guy make it and do his thing. Very talented. So the Acclaimed against SCU, but no Scorpio Sky. I think he's on the shelf. That's what we remember from the previous Dynamites, against Chris Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, two guys that between them probably have about 45 years in professional wrestling, and got to respect those two guys too. I'm not saying it's a match I want to see. I know what they're all about and their styles. I've been on shows with them before. Respect the hell out of them. They're still around. So it should be an interesting match. SCU, and also in the female division. I don't cover a lot of the female division unless it grabs my attention. Like I said, a Diona, a Taya, a Sasha, an Asuka, et cetera, et cetera. Serena Deeb and Swole against Ivelisse and Diamante. So, Muy Caliente and Fuego on AEW Dynamite for the female tag team division. So that's what's going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think I pretty much hit all those. I think I hit them out of the ballpark, to tell you about that. Now let's get into quickly coming up, because it's not too far away. It's on the 18th. I want to cover Ring of Honor. We're 37 minutes in here. Ring of Honor, Final Battle 2020. Okay, December 18th. It's going to be an unbelievable show. I'll run through it here because I'm trying to keep this pretty decent. I don't want everyone to watch it forever. But if you're missed out on this episode, I'll try to timeline it. Maybe that's what I'll do. I learned that from a couple other podcasters. I'll try to timeline it so you can, whatever you're interested in. We'll see how that works out. A Ring of Honor Final Battle 2020. The Ring of Honor heavyweight title, or the world title, Rush against Brody King. For the TV title, Dragon Lee against four-way Victor. And there's a four-way that night, a four-way dance. Tony Deppen, LSG, Josh Woods, and Dak Draper. I don't know those guys personally, but I know all of those names from the independents. Whoever wins that bout, I believe, is going for the winner of the TV title, who's right now is Dragon Lee, who's an unbelievable grappler. The tag team titles are on the line as guys that I have connections to, and I remember calling his matches back in the early 2000s, and I saw it then. Jay Lethal teams up with Jonathan Grisham. They are the tag team champions to take on them boys. Well, at least half of them boys. Mark Briscoe. Now, I think Jay is on the shelf, but Mark Briscoe teams up with a guy who I connected with on social media, and I love him. He's unbelievable. And, I know Destro says this. I love Destro because we've connected also. Destro, I love you, brother. But my monster... PCO. So I'm looking forward to that at Final Battle pay-per-view. PCO and Mark Briscoe against the tag team champions Jay Lethal and Jonathan Grisham. And Grisham doing double duty that night. Again, he's a phenomenal athlete. He dominated in Japan. He's dominated in Ring of Honor. You got to give Grisham, as far as technical grapplers, probably in the top 5. Top 10 without a doubt. I can argue for top 5 in the world. Jonathan Gresham puts the pure title out of the line. You know that they just Ring of Honor just came out of that elongated a Ring of Honor pure title. Gresham was the winner. He takes on a guy who was in the WWE, who I've seen personally on the Indies, an unbelievable talent. And this ought to be an unbelievable match of different styles. And that would be one Flip Gordon. Now, Flip Gordon fans, I know that you know him. What an athlete. What a tremendous guy, Flip Gordon. So that match ought to be something. Now, depending on where it is in the lineup, I like Flip's chances if Gresham's doing double duty, especially if he's going up against, them boys and my monster. So that's my opinion. Look for the lineup there, and is Gresham going to be able to retain both titles? What's going on over there at Sinclair and Ring of Honor? You know, I had a little connection. I talked to some people. Love them all over there. Love Ring of Honor. Well, what are you doing now? So that's what's going on for Final Battle. And also, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, he had a couple issues. Thank God he's doing okay. Mike Bennett just recently released from WWE, quite a grappler, know him from the Indies himself. And Matt Taven, who's going on to be an unbelievable mind of psychology and being involved in pro wrestling. So Taven and Bennett. Okay, Taven, I think, runs the locker room at Ring of Honor. We know it was Skrull. We don't know where he is. Taven and Bennett take on his former buddy there, the axe murderer, Vincent, and Bateman. So that ought to be a match that'll be off the wall. Former indie star now working for Ring of Honor, Danhausen, the guy with all the makeup, he's a pretty talented guy. I've seen him on YouTube. Again, I don't know a lot of these guys personally, but I've seen their work because that's what I do. You watch video, and if you don't, you're not reliable. You do your research, please. So Danhausen will be on it. That's what they have going on for Final Battle. I think that's going to be a good card. Let's jump over to quickly TLC, which will be the following night on the 19th here. That's the next pay-per-view. I'm just going to run it down. We know about Raw and SmackDown's down at the end of the week. I'm not going to get into the whole storylines of Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. Although, listen, this is what I have to say about WWE, SmackDown, and Raw, and those different programs. I like the storylines of Jey Uso and Roman Reigns and the Tribal Chief and Head of the Table. I wish they went there more. I was really into that, and I don't know where it's going to go with Kevin Owens. I like what they're doing with the Fiend and Bray Wyatt, although he's so misused right now against Randy Orton. So I like a lot of that stuff. And Mella, I got to admit it, Carmella has stepped up her game. I don't follow it closely, but just different news and notes and by talking to other people. So I go back and I look at it, and I have to agree. If you don't always see it with the eye, you have to depend on someone to hopefully direct you. That's why I depend on you guys. TLC. Tables, ladders, and chairs. So these matches, not all of them, but the first couple. Kevin Owens against the head of the table, Roman Reigns, for the Universal title. AJ Styles against Drew McIntyre for the WWE Universal title. The aforementioned Carmella, who's really stepped up her game, against Sasha for the SmackDown Ladies title. Randy Orton, I just mentioned it. It's funny. See how it works. Psychology, storytelling, emotional investment. That's what it's about here on Chaos Corner. Randy Orton and The Fiend. Well, we know Alexa Bliss, and for all you, virgins out there or people that pay her $400 for a cameo. I've heard other people talk about it. I've heard JD talk about it, asking her to marry and stuff. Really? Have the marks gotten that bad? I know we're all marks, but there's different degrees. A mark in my day, and even into the 90s, was that you had a love and a passion for wrestling, and you weren't just used to be just a fan, but then it changed because we all are at a point. But really, get out of your basement, go find a girlfriend, get a job. I'm not insulting anybody. It's a word, it's a joke, baby. Just motivation, inspiration, positivity. I want everyone to rise themselves up and be a better person. And that's what I try to do all the time. That's my message. Getting back to TLC, we talked about Orton and Fiend. We know Alexa Bliss is going to be around. I like where they're going. Now, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler take on Lana and a woman who I really respect, and that would be Asuka for the women's tag team titles. I don't have a lot of interest, but it's a part of the card. I'm doing my job. The New Day takes on the Hurt Business with MVP. That's going to be... I hope they work snug. A lot of times they have a reputation, but they don't always. I'm glad to see that. I want them to work snug. Now, for the Hurt Business, it's going to be Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander. MVP will be there. This is for the tag team titles. And again, what WWE is doing in the tag team division, I have no clue, because they're all over the place. They could learn a lot from these other companies. When I grew up and when I was in the business as a young man and then in the business, tag teams meant something. I mean, I made my bread and butter on tag teams and managing tag teams, and it was successful. You're missing that because the demo wants that back. Just my opinion. So that's what's going on. I briefly run down the TLC. I don't want to make this too long. So that's what's going on for WWE TLC. I want to cover a couple other things here. We talked AEW. We talked Impact. We got that. Thank God we got that out of the way. We talked NXT. We talked MLW. Fans, thanks for being here. You see I'm going through this. I have a couple of things left here. We're 45 minutes in, so I hope you're here and enjoying show number 22. I'm having a good time, and whether you're here or not, I'm still going to continue to do it. But I do appreciate it. You know that. Time for a little break, a little Monster, please. In honor of PCO, and if you guys don't go out and get PCO and sponsor him, my monster. Shout out to Destro. Anyway, fans, Chaos Corner, show number 22. Thanks for being here. Let's move along to the task at hand, because I've had personal connections to these next two groups. I want to announce this here. I'm going to timeline it. 46 minutes in here. Coming up, we're a few weeks away, and I'm sure I'll mention it on shows coming up previously here after show number 22. January 2nd, Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling presents Under the Radar. pay-per-view. Now, there's not going to be any fans. We're doing this, and they are doing this to Paradise 4 like all the big groups. This is groundbreaking. It's the first ever for PAPW, so follow them on all social media. Go to ParadiseAlleyProWrestling.com, all the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's going to be on iPay-per-view. Hey, listen. It's only $4.99, and the talent that you get that's trained by 4 former WWF, WWE, WCW, the Paradise 4, that is worth it alone. So trust me, here's what's going on for Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling on January 2nd, iPay-per-view. Under the radar, for the Alley Fights title, recently crowned Roma prodigy Dustin Flash Waller takes on Showtime Marcel Williams. Now, fans, I'll throw this out there about Showtime Marcel Williams. I said it several times. I'll say it again. He is the only grappler, talent on the roster, history of Paradise Alley to hold the heavyweight title, the United States title, the Intercontinental title, and also the first winner of the Hercules Hernandez Memorial Tournament. Those are 4 accomplishments that no one in the history of Paradise Alley has ever accomplished. There's one thing that all you chump suckers fail to realize. I'm just using Showtime's language, so nobody get offended here. Showtime has never won the Alley Fights title since its inception, whether it was from Dustin Flash Waller, the former champions, and Nutrius X, Sammy Diaz, I believe Ty Shine. So be careful. Dustin's young. He's getting a lot of work in. He's trained by none better at Paradise Alley, the Paradise 4. Keep an eye out. Showtime is a savvy ring veteran. My money says sooner or later, look at Showtime Marcel Williams, the leader of the Tri-State Kings, to perhaps do something that no one in the history of pro wrestling, and especially at Paradise Alley, has ever done, winning all those titles. 50 minutes in here. Also, under the radar, owner and CEO of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, Mario Mancini, addresses the issue with the heavyweight title and the current title holder, the 400-pound, who now I see on social media is a lean, buff, trim, jacked 300-pound Vlad, who is the current heavyweight champion. Mancini addresses it January 2nd at Under the Radar. He addresses the issue of the heavyweight title and the current champion, Vlad. We don't know where that's going to go. You're going to have to show up for Under the Radar. Fans, you're not going to want to miss it. Also, for the Intercontinental Championship, the New England Beast, Bull Dread, defends against that commie Rusky, the underhanded former member of Collusion, and that would be one Maxim Morozov, the former Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champion himself. So Dredd and Morozov, that's going to be a match that fans, you're not going to want to miss that. Also, fans, go out and check, like I said, go to all the social media platforms because PAPW has come out with a show called Beyond the Bell. Now, Beyond the Bell is with the voice of PAPW, the ring announcer, Matt DeCourt, and senior referee, Ref Bill Thompson. Together, Matt DeCourt and Bill Thompson do about a half an hour to an hour show that they put out on social media for PAPW called Beyond the Bell. You're not going to want to miss it. It tells you all the lineup for 2020-21, what's going on with news and notes. And I got to tell you, you know I give everybody the rub. Slick Willie, if you will, Ref Bill, and my good buddy Matt DeCourt, the voice. You guys do a good job at Beyond the Bell. I got to give you a lot of credit. Also, on Under the Radar, and this is for the number one contendership, Jose and Jose B. Team España returns to Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling to take on, from the Middle East, the thorn in the side of this organization since the beginning, the Pyramids of Power, and that would be the Prince of Sands, Aladdin, and his partner, Aladdin Ding, with the manager at ringside, Abdul Haq. So the Pyramids of Power take on Jose and Jose B, Team España, for the number one contendership to see who faces the defending three-time tag team champions, and that would be the House of Pain, Nick Payne and Hakim Ali, who are headed down south to the legendary site of the Daytona Beach Center for the NAWA and Jingle Brawl. And I predict that I said it on the last show, and I said it on PWZ with the Professor, they will be the tag team champions. So that is what's going. Also, I failed to mention this, and then we'll wrap up a PAPW and Under the Radar. The Red Lion, ring-savvy veteran Chris Battle, takes on newcomer Pedro. To all my friends out there, you know what I have to say. Pedro Dones and Chris Battle, the Red Lion, will be on Under the Radar. That will be quite the lineup. So we have Flash and Showtime, Battle and Dones. Mancini addresses the heavyweight title. We have Beyond the Bell with Ref Bill and Matt DeCourt. Pyramids of Power and Team España, we broke that down. Bull Dread and Maxim Morozov for the title. I don't know where Zafir Al-Rahihi will be, but I do know this. All the talent and roster will be lined up for, and this is what I want to finish off with, the Anytime, Any Gold Gauntlet match. I'm sure all the stars from Kylon King to The Haven, to Zachariah Gibbs, to Danny Adam, to Nick Delta, to Nutrius X, to Waves and Curls, to Trayvon Jordan. I'm sure that to Zafir Al-Rahihi himself. And listen, I know I'm missing some talent and stars, to the Prophecy, Big Jim Anderson. I'm sure all that talent will be involved in the Anytime, Any Gold Gauntlet match. Now, you know what that means. They have a contract that they can cash in within the next calendar year, which we're all looking forward to 2021. To cash in that Anytime, Any Gold Gauntlet against any title in the company of PAPW for a championship match. So that's almost like, I think, a better concept, but almost like a Money in the Bank at PAPW. So fans, I'm a little ahead of myself. I will mention this on shows down the road, but because of the personal connection, I am in the class of 2020 PAPW Hall of Fame. I pay-per-view January 2nd, under the radar PAPW. It's going to be something you're not going to want to miss. To wrap it up here and keep it under an hour, I would love to talk about what's coming up, and we'll finish it off with this here. I'll mention it briefly because it's come across a lot of timelines and I have a lot of connections there. You know, I was the former commissioner, and I was for 20 years taking over for the legendary Bruno Sammartino, and one of the biggest honors of my life to be the commissioner for the North American Wrestling Alliance and being able to work with Bret the Hitman Hart. Here's what we have coming up. December 19th, this weekend, Jingle Brawl 2020 down at the Daytona Beach Center in Daytona, Florida. They're going to do a tribute to Bruiser Brody. Barbara Goodish will be at Jingle Brawl. There's also going to be a tribute to Hercules Hernandez, who was the former two-time NAWA champion. There's going to be a 15-man battle royal for the heavyweight title in honor of the late, great Hercules Hernandez, who was the tag team partner of Paul Roma from Power and Glory. It doesn't get bigger than that. So it's nice to see an independent company like the North American Wrestling Alliance, who's striving to be bigger, honor two such legends and heroes and men that I personally respected, Bruiser Brody and Hercules Ray Hernandez. Now let's get on to the card. Former WWE alumni, you just saw him on AEW, the Vampire Warrior from the Brood, Gangrel, takes on the Tokyo Monster, Kahagas, or as some people say, Kahagas. Some people say tomato, some people say tomato, some people say potato, some people say potato. But you get the point. Gangrel against the Tokyo Monster. Johnny Swinger from Impact and ECW as recently as this week takes on the second generation, might even be third generation grappler. I believe second generation grappler, but we know the connection with the legendary Hart family. And that would be Davey Boy Smith Jr. That's right, Harry Smith. So Johnny Swinger from Impact against Davey Boy Smith Jr. The three-time tag team champions of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling have made their way to the NAWA, and they're in an unbelievable three-way tag team dance for the NAWA Tag Team Championships. And that would be Nick Payne and Hakim Ali, the House of Pain. As they say, our house, our rules, our time. So the House of Pain takes on Chiazzo and Januzzo, the legendary tag team of the Slambinos, and they go up against Creed and Blaylock, a young tag team that's very talented, and the Sharpshooters. It's going to be an unbelievable three-way dance. Also, the Intercontinental title will be on the line as Storm Thomas takes on a mystery opponent. And I also heard that the manager, Chaz Moretti, who thinks he's, I don't know, part of the Rat Pack, the Whack Pack. I don't know Chaz. He seems like a nice guy, but I know that Chaz Moretti, the manager, will be at Jingle Brawl. So that's what the owner and the Godfather have lined up for this week. On it will be on Fight TV on iPay-per-view. They have a big association with Great North Wrestling, and I also do know for Jingle Brawl that the Blood Warrior, I heard he was going to be there. It's a mystery. He may not be there. Kevin Sullivan, Andrew Anderson. I don't know. There was a lot connected to this at one point. The Samoans, I don't know if they've backed out. I also know Vanish. These are legendary independent grapplers, old-timers, OGs that were associated. I don't see them. This card was at least, listen, this news is official. This came from Mike Johnson, PWI Insider. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the event at North American Wrestling Alliance. As you know, I'm no longer the commissioner. I'm okay with that. I resigned. And when, found out, a week later I was I was laid off anyway. I don't want to say fired. It's not, because that's not the word. Given my release. I'll be like Bischoff and Cornette and Vince Russo. Given my release. But that's neither here nor there. So fans, that's it. We're coming up on an hour. I really wanted to cover New Japan and Wrestle Kingdom, but there's enough time for that. What the Gorillas of Destiny, Tamatonga and Tangaloa are doing over there, and what they did with the tag team tournament and the Kings of Wrestling. We're an hour in, so this is I want to upload this same day. Chaos Corner, a live to tape show number 22. We covered everything pro wrestling: NXT, Ring of Honor, Impact, MLW, PAPW, NAWA. There isn't anything we haven't covered. New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom, January 4th and 5th. Unbelievable lineup. We will cover that. I promise that. I go to a lot of my sources, even including the great guys over at the Wrestling Council. I listen to the Wrestling Council and I get a lot of New Japan news because they have such great coverage from New Japan and Big Japan. All Japan. IWGP news. The Wrestling Council does a great job, so I'm interested in covering that. We'll talk about Evil, Sonata, Jay White. We could talk about Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, Okada, El Fantasmo. Again, you just have to make sure that you get it down. And, of course, I love over there right now and what Jeff Cobb is doing. So I thought we would have more time to get on to the IWGP, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom, the road to Tokyo. That's this week. Again, I have a lot of fans over there in Tokyo, a lot of gaijins. I say it all the time to Pac Rim. Konnichiwa. Thank you for following Chaos Corner. We're not only national, we are international. Dragon Gate's doing a lot of good things over there. So there's a lot of things going over in the Orient, overseas, across the ocean there. Big things that you fans should be watching. If you like pro wrestling and are really into pro wrestling and the purity of it, like a lot of people are, and you want to get away from sometimes the carny stuff or some of these weak cards or different things that have lined up or alternatives, in all respect to everyone, go over and watch a lot of the stuff from Japan that's coming out of there. A lot of good athletes over there. And again, Jeff Cobb. I can't say it enough, and I guess that's why he's not here in the U.S. right now. They must be paying him a boatload of money. I give him a lot of credit. A future star, and he's going to make an impact here. And if you stayed here for the 1 hour and 2 minutes that we stayed here for show number 22, a live to tape covering everything pro wrestling like Gordon Soley and Joe Pedicino back in the day, then you were in for a treat. A lot of good stuff came out of this. Stay tuned for show number 23. It's going to come out soon. It'll come out quick. I appreciate everyone in here. We went a little over schedule, but we put out a lot of great information, and I do appreciate it. Stay tuned. Beware. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. A little off the hook today. I had a great time. Don't you dare miss it.